Hearing from the Premier of Ontario, Doug Ford, now about that infamous anti-tariff ad that led to a suspension of Canada-U.S. trade talks. Ontario took out the ad. Donald Trump was furious over it. It used the voice of Ronald Reagan, who was a big-time free trader and against tariffs. Doug Ford speaking at the provincial parliament, Queen's Park in Toronto, a short time ago. Let's listen in.
Well, I'm not going to get into he said, back and forth. I don't think the people of Canada want that. I know one thing, we're united on getting a deal. I have asked them to focus on many areas, but especially on the auto sector, and I know he's doing his best to get that back to the table.
You don't want to correct the public record here? The Prime Minister says he had to apologize, and he said that he asked you specifically not to run the commercial.
Well, again, I'm not going to go back and forth. I had a different recollection of our conversation, but that's, people don't need that. They want to move forward, to get a deal, to protect jobs and protect the economy of Ontario and of Canada.
Was you don't remember him saying no? Lying about what he said?
No, again, I'm not going down that avenue. I know, I've talked to him this morning through text message. We have a great relationship. We're focused on the same areas, and that's protecting Canadian jobs, Ontario jobs, the steel sector, the auto sector, life sciences, and manufacturing.
Are you able to share your recollection, Premier? What's
I'm just not going to go down that avenue. I'm not jumping into that bear trap. We have a great relationship. I'll tell you one thing, what he did do, he called me from Asia a couple times and said, pull the ad. And I said I wasn't going to do it until we're going to pause the ad on Monday. And that's exactly what we did. It was 12.4 billion impressions around the world. And they talked about it on the Senate floor. I love the fact that 4 Republicans jumped over and voted against tariffs on Canada. So they were very effective. And they ended up getting rejuvenating the talks with the Democrats and Republicans down in the U.S. that a tariff on Canada is a tax on American people.
What was the Prime Minister's tone when he asked you a couple of times to pull the ad? Was he personally angry with your actions?
No, he wasn't angry at all. I fully understand the position he's in. He's trying to talk to the president, but the president was going to give us a terrible deal, like they gave UK a terrible deal, gave Japan even a worse deal, in my opinion, and we weren't going to go down that rabbit hole of getting a terrible deal. I always say no deal is better than a bad deal, and that's what President Trump wants. He wants a terrible deal for Canadians. I take a different approach. I want the AmCan fortress, American-Canadian fortress, that we can grow the pie, create more jobs, just like Ronald Reagan did. Jobs went up in a massive way when he signed the deal with Prime Minister Brian Mulroney, and we're asking to do the same thing. Tariffs do not work anywhere in the world. They especially don't work with your number one customer, and yes, they're our number one customer. So let's grow the pie, as I always say.
But do you think he should have apologized, or are you upset that he apologized?
Well, that's up to the Prime Minister. I'll tell you what I would do. I'd never apologize to Donald Trump. Donald Trump's trying to destroy our province, destroy our country, steal manufacturing jobs and auto sector jobs, steel jobs, aluminum jobs. The list keeps going on. I'll never apologize to President Trump, and I'm going to continue fighting for the people of Ontario and the people of Canada.
Did the Prime Minister give you a heads up that he was going to apologize?
No, he didn't. But that's his prerogative, right? I don't speak for the Prime Minister. I speak as the Premier of Ontario, and I'll never apologize to Donald Trump, ever. They put me on a stretching rack, I wouldn't apologize. No, it doesn't. That's, something the Prime Minister is doing the best he can for the country. He has the best interests of the country at heart, and he's trying to work with 13 different premiers across the board. We look forward to sitting down at an FMM conference, and we'll have a further discussion when all the premiers come together.
Last question.
Are you going to spend what's left of the budget from this commercial on a new commercial targeting the U.S.?
No, not necessarily. Let's see what the budget brings forward. I'm confident that there's a lot of opportunities for everyone in the country, but especially here in Ontario. We're focused on the Ring of Fire, our energy policy, large-scale nuclear. We made the announcement of the SMRs last week, and we're going to continue making sure we create the environment and the conditions for companies to come and invest in Ontario.
All right, that's it. Thank you. Last question.
Is there any part of you that accepts that perhaps what Ontario did with the commercial may have led to some negative consequences for Canada?
Not at all. It gave us strength, if anything. You roll over with President Trump. We've seen what President Trump does. He smells weakness, he'll latch on you like a pit bull. And we should never, ever show weakness with President Trump. We're his #1 customer. He needs us as much as we need them. And that's why we need to put this aside and start getting a good deal for Canada and the U.S.
But then why not continue running the commercial? Pulling the commercial shows weakness. Why not continue?
then-
Last question.
President Trump wanted me to pull it one day, and I took 3 more days, and we paused it to get back to the table. It was very, very effective. I've been getting endless calls from a lot of people down in the U.S. and right across our country to say, way to go, keep going, and we'll never stop fighting for Ontario and Canadian jobs. But thanks,
Is it
everyone.
time for David Puccini to resign?
Thanks, everyone.
Time with the Ring of Fire ad right now?
Thank you.